Aerials reveal the extent of the damage left by this weekend's deadly Asian earthquake.
A body found inside a Miami apartment. The victim's car found miles away with someone else driving it.
And a wild animal in the news after attacking a family pet. You're not going to believe this one. We are live at the Metro Zoo with more on this growing danger.
Caught on camera, New Orleans police officers beating a 64-year-old man. The officers say they are innocent.
Live, online, and on air. This is the NBC6 NewsNet at noon.
First on the NewsNet, the devastation in Pakistan after Saturday's quake. More than 30,000 people thought to be dead now. The good news, aid is beginning to pour in from around the world. Pakistan even agreeing to accept help from its rival India. Ned Colt now with the latest.
Every day now, those figures continue to rise, and many of the hardest hit and most remote areas still haven't been heard from. Close to the quake's epicenter, almost everything is gone. Entire villages reduced to rubble, thousands dead. Cars are no use here. Immense landslides have closed off roads. In the capital of Pakistan-controlled Kashmir alone, at least 17,000 people have died, 80% of the homes destroyed. But there are still survivors. Rescuers shouted, "God is great," when they pulled a man alive overnight from the remains of this twin-tower apartment block in Islamabad. A British rescue team is using scent dogs and sensitive listening devices to find the living.
We have a listening device which has two large sensors which allows us to listen down into the concrete. We also have a machine that can sense carbon dioxide.
And more aid is on the way for the tens of thousands left injured and homeless. President Pervez Musharraf, touring damaged areas, has appealed for more.
What is required primarily is tents and blankets, and then food. So tents, blankets, and food stuff.
Most needed helicopters to ferry in tents and food and to medevac out the injured. The U.S., with a huge military presence in neighboring Afghanistan,
90,000 pounds of water, food, and blankets,
is supplying 8 helicopters and cargo planes. But time is running out, with tens of thousands here still waiting, holding on to little more than hope. And frustrations are increasing, with many in those remote areas saying they still haven't received any aid yet. Back to you.
And if you'd like to make a donation to the victims of the quake, we've made it easy for you. Log on to NBC6.net. You'll find a link there to the Red Cross.
Well, from an earthquake in Asia, a hurricane in Latin America, snow in Colorado already this season. We've had some pretty unexpected effects of Mother Nature around the globe, but fortunately much calmer so far here in South Florida. We're going to get over to Lonnie Quinn now for the latest on the weather. Hi, Lonnie.
Well, police are now telling us, we'll get back to Lonnie in a minute, he's got a microphone problem. People are telling us that a man has been found dead in his Miami apartment and that he was, in fact, murdered. This after investigators find another man driving his car. Ed Odell joins us live now with the very latest. Good afternoon, Ed.
Well, Miami police say they are trying to determine why Joel Denson died. They are questioning that man who was found in his missing car. They have tight control on this apartment. Well, Denson was found dead after first responding here to this location about 10 o'clock last night. The Miami police homicide investigation was still underway in Joel Denson's Miami apartment. It was a concerned relative who first sounded the alarm.
From what we're being told, he does have a family member. I was told a sister who speaks to him daily, and that was the reason that there was some alarm, because she hadn't spoken to him that day.
Neighbors were the first to knock on the door and get no response. Police followed, pushing their way into the 40-year-old's apartment near 7th Avenue and Northwest 56th Street. They found him dead inside.
Well, it's kind of like frightening, you know what I'm saying? Because we right upstairs.
Police searched for clues through the early morning hours as neighbors awoke, shocked to find their building a part of the crime scene.
To find out that something happened to the guy downstairs, it's kind of like real heartfelt. So we give our sympathy to his family and stuff like that. But we really don't know what happened.
Denson's 2000 BMW was missing from the parking lot. Police found it later about 50 blocks away. someone was driving it, but the connection is unclear.
We are interviewing the person that was inside of that car because we don't know why he had the victim's vehicle.
The Miami police say that Denson has a relatively small arrest record, one of those for a drug bust. If you have any information on his death, please call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. Reporting live from Miami, Ed Odell, NBC 6.
Thanks, Ed. Chopper 6 right now over the scene in Aventura of a main gas line cutting during construction. Police have shut down traffic in both directions on Biscayne Boulevard between Northwest 207th Street and Northwest 213th Streets after that gas line was severed. You're being urged to avoid the area while crews make repairs. They tell us it'll take at least a couple of hours.
And we're scanning the web right now for some of the stories most important to you. So far, here are your top clicks of the day. First of all, 3 New Orleans police officers are arrested and suspended after being caught on camera. Officials say 2 of those officers repeatedly punched a 64-year-old man accused of public intoxication outside a bar near Bourbon Street. As you can see, very clear up-close video there. The officers then reportedly assaulted a TV news producer as a cameraman taped that confrontation. Well, residents of a stately Coral Gables neighborhood couldn't believe their eyes when they spied a man running down the street with a machete in his hand. It happened Saturday night along Anderson Road near Valencia Avenue. Police say this man, Robert Marshall, took a swipe at another man with that machete. They were arguing over, of all things, ice cream. And also getting a lot of hits on NBC6.net, a second python attack in less than a week. Now, last week, you may recall a python ate an alligator. This time around, a resident found a 10 to 12-foot python with a bulging belly. And, you know, an unfortunate coincidence, the man hadn't seen his pet cat in days. Now, wildlife officers captured the snake, and yes, the snake, it turns out, had eaten that animal.
Experts say the number of exotic animals found in our state is growing because owners buy them, then release them into the wild when they get too big. Who knows more about wild animals than the folks at Miami Metro Zoo? And, of course, Hank Tester. Hank, what do you know today?
I know a lot about wild animals. Now, which one's the wild animals? Take a guess here. But Ron McGill joins me, and this is a python, kind of like the one that ate the kitty cat, as we understand it. Now, Ron, this was a pet, and that's the whole story, right?
That's the whole story. All the pythons we use here at the zoo are animals that were donated to us by people who had them originally as pets and realized they made a mistake.
And this is a mistake right here.
This is absolutely a mistake. This was bought in a pet shop when it was about 21 inches long, and now it's about 15 feet long and weighs about 100 pounds. So you have an animal that really does not make a good pet any longer.
And so what happens if you want to get rid of this? Your son's gone away to college, Freddie's little slither, name of this thing.
Yeah.
Needs a home.
I get a call a month at least from a parent who says, my kid went to college, I got this snake, I don't know what to do with it. We can no longer accept them here at the zoo. We're saturated. So what people end up doing is I tell them you have to call animal control or call one of these animal rescue organizations. More often than that, a lot of people just let them go. They think, oh, let it be free. And they don't realize the kind of danger that they could be providing in the environment.
They breed rapidly, lots of eggs.
A big female can have as many as 100 eggs. Hank, that's one breeding. If you have a big female, 100 eggs, even a normal breeding, 30 to 40 eggs, that multiplies so quickly, it's unbelievable.
And they could be anywhere.
Anywhere. These animals can survive anywhere where there's a food source, and that could be anything from a domestic dog or a cat or a possum or raccoon. Here you see the teeth of these animals. This is the skull of a snake just this size. And you can see how the teeth are recurved. These animals, they don't really unhinge their jaws like a lot of people say. They have like an extra quadrate bone that enables them to stretch their skull open because all these bones are attached by ligaments kind of, so it opens up.
So to show you how big these things can be, careful, Ron, that's an awful heavy snake.
This is a snake.
Check this out.
That I actually got at Matheson Hammock Park in the early 90s.
Uh-oh.
Didn't go all the way down, but this was a snake that I caught on Matheson Hammock Beach in 1992.
Ron, how long is this thing?
21 feet long, and it had 3 huge raccoons in its belly. This is a reticulated python. This is another snake that has been caught in our environment, and I suspect will be seen more often.
And was a pet.
And was a pet, exactly, and was thriving out. This is a huge animal.
Oh, wow. Well, that's the basics. The rest of the day, we're going to spend looking at some more exotic animals, we hope, that shouldn't be there.
Exactly.
And there's plenty of that around South Florida. So for now, reporting live, I'm Hank Tester, NBC6. Back to you guys.
Hank, thank you. Some amazing images there. Well, in a suburb of Tampa, there was another gator which attacked a dog this time. A teenager says she has the tape to prove it. You're looking at it there. She says she was videotaping the gator in a lake near her home when that gator grabbed her pet and sadly started eating it.
This is our backyard, and we play in our backyards. And for us to have something that dangerous and that vicious, it's ridiculous. It should be more controlled and more organized and, you know, taken seriously.
Now, Riveros believes that someone opened her back gate, allowing that puppy to wander near the lake.
And now we want to know what you think. In our NBC6.net interactive question of the day, we're asking, should Florida have stricter regulations on the ownership of exotic animals? To voice your opinion, log on to our website, NBC6.net, if you're not already there. Look for the NewsNet and fill out our survey. And don't forget, you can also email us at interactive@NBC6.net.
All severe weather across the globe, from flooding in Latin America and New Hampshire to snow in the Rockies.
New recommendations from expert pediatricians, the link between pacifiers and protecting your newborn from SIDS.
And our high gas prices putting the brakes on your holiday travel plans. Well, you are not alone. And can he go the distance? A 9-year-old boy paddling his way across San Francisco Bay. We'll be right back.
And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lonnie Quinn here in the NBC6 Weather Center, and we're looking out our window. One of our sky cams, at least, is looking down around Key West. It's our La Concha cam. You got a parasailer getting a nice little tow behind that speedboat, and a pretty sky out there with some white puffy clouds. Really the nice peacock blue color that we love to see, and a pretty day shaping up. But what if you're traveling? So let's go over to the big map and show you what you'll have to deal with if you're heading anywhere from North Carolina, anywhere up and down the eastern seaboard, all the way up to about southern Maine. Bangor, Maine, you should be okay today. Otherwise, it's wet weather on the eastern seaboard. And then what else is out there? Look at this. This is that system that dumped a foot of snow outside of Denver, a place called Evergreen. Caught, yeah, foot of the white stuff. If you're going skiing, that's where you're going. We'll be right back.
Police say militants killed at least 12 Iraqis today using suicide car bombs, roadside bombs, and drive-by shootings. One car bomb exploded near an Iraqi army checkpoint in western Baghdad, killing 3 soldiers and 3 civilians. 2 Iraqi construction workers also were reported to be seriously wounded in that attack.
Well, a fire has destroyed part of the world's longest pleasure pier. It's located in England in an area called Southend-on-Sea. The blaze broke out late last night in the main entertainment area, which is at the end of the 1.34-mile-long structure. It is the 4th fire to hit that pier in the past 50 years.
Entire communities in Guatemala have been buried by mudslides caused by Hurricane Stan. Villagers who've been digging in the communities, preparing mass graves, have given up after 5 days looking for hundreds of people still missing. More than 640 people died in Central America and southern Mexico. 519 of those recovered in Guatemala.
Well, more flooding, this time closer to home in the U.S. Torrential rains have caused flooding and forced businesses to close in Keene, New Hampshire. More than 500 National Guard members have been called in to help with the flooding in the city and the surrounding areas. Now, a local fire chief says 30 to 40% of that city is underwater.
Here's a sight you won't see soon anywhere in South Florida. Traffic moving slowly on Highway 70 in Summit County, Colorado, because of sleet, ice, and slush. As much as 12 inches of snow also falling in Denver and Boulder. Up to 5 inches reported in Aspen and Vail. Today's Columbus Day. Many of you enjoying a well-earned day off, and so are all federal employees. If you haven't figured it out yet, all banks and federal offices are closed today. Mail carriers also have the day off, so make sure you plan accordingly. No mail today. Gas prices up again nationwide, and again, things are worse here in South Florida. The Lundberg survey says the price of an average gallon of gas is now $2.91 nationwide. Prices in South Florida a lot closer to $3 a gallon. People are driving less, easing demand, and that's keeping prices from going up even further.
Well, it turns out watching your cholesterol could also keep Alzheimer's from developing. Some previous studies had suggested a link between high cholesterol levels and a certain protein, which is thought to contribute to Alzheimer's. Well, now German researchers are using cells from mice to take a closer look at all of this. Either way, doctors do recommend keeping cholesterol at healthy levels because it can also reduce your risk of stroke and heart disease. Well, most of us as parents worry about SIDS or sudden infant death syndrome. But now, listen to this. The American Academy of Pediatrics has come up with an interesting recommendation for reducing SIDS. The Academy now says studies show an association between using a pacifier and a reduced risk of SIDS. It recommends that babies use pacifiers at nap time and bedtime throughout the first year of their life, unless, of course, the child refuses that pacifier.
Late night blunder. Find out how things worked out for singer Ashley Simpson the second time around.
Hopefully a little bit better. Also, it spent 2 weeks at #1, but now another movie is riding high, bumping Flight Plan out of the top spot. We're going to have this weekend's top flicks coming up.
And don't forget about our NBC6 interactive question of the day. We're checking your responses, and we'll read some of your emails coming up on the NBC6 NewsNet at noon.
And Bob and Tina just finished showing you snow in the Rockies. You got flooding in New England, and we have glorious weather here in South Florida. How long is this going to hold up? I'll have my forecast right after this when we come back.
There goes Apollo. 1 lap for gold. They bump. Total white before skaters go down. Cody Miller's letting them fly down here. Oh. How did he stay up there? He's reaching back for one more gear. 6 yards from goal. This is going to come right down to the wire. Look at the airtime on this. In a world record. Gold medal. Sarah Hughes just brought the house down. The Americans sweep the medal. 1, 2, and 3. Gold medal. USA. Win the gold medal. This is the kind of performance you just dream about.
Well, hey, did you catch this over the weekend? A year after she was caught lip-syncing on the show, Ashley Simpson was back on Saturday Night Live this weekend. The 20-year-old singer performed 2 songs this time around without a hitch, which, of course, was a dramatic contrast to last October's very embarrassing appearance. Some folks here around the studios telling us she did pretty good this time around. Well, it's time now to find out which movies were big hits at the weekend box office.
Stand back! There may be a large rabbit dropping.
Oh, that's the animated flick Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and it earned the top spot at the box office over the weekend, bringing in $16.1 million. The Jodie Foster film Flight Plan finished in second this week, raking in still nearly $10.8 million in its third week. And In Her Shoes, yeah, this is kind of a chick flick starring Cameron Diaz and Shirley MacLaine. It debuted in third place, but it still sold $10 million worth of weekend receipts. Bob, though, I can't quite see you going out and seeing that one.
I don't think so. All right, time now to check out our website of the day. Internet giant Yahoo is jumping on the bandwagon with tools for finding, organizing, and rating podcasts. Those are audio programs designed to be played on Apple's iPod and other portable music players. Yahoo's idea is to make it easier for people to find the programming best suited to their interests. Yahoo begins testing the free service today at podcasts.yahoo.com. And to find it, just log on to our website, of course, NBC6.net. Click on the NewsNet, and we'll connect you. Over to Lonnie.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Let's take a picture behind me, because that's a really nice-looking shot from our Mikosuke camera. The blue sky, the white puffy clouds, substance in our air, and all that means is they're sinking air, and consequently, those clouds can't build into the big thunderheads. They're sinking air, keeping them sort of squashed down and pleasant-looking outside. Let's go over and talk about the rainfall with our Viper technology, and you're going to find this is a pretty quiet picture. Here we go. A little bit of activity well offshore, like we're up around Fort Pierce or so. Miami-Dade, Broward, the Keys, everybody looking nice and quiet. If we go over to the big picture now, as far as the whole state in terms of cloud cover, our satellite imagery will show us where the clouds are, and there they go. They've disappeared in South Florida. Nothing really rain-bearing out there, and it's a good-looking setup. High up in space, what we're starting to see is a high-pressure system developing around the northern Gulf of Mexico. That's going to give us sort of a northeasterly breeze, not just for today, probably right through Thursday, maybe even Friday or so. A couple of things we want to point out. This little spin right there, no one is to be alarmed about that. It's an upper level low, so it's not at the surface, and that's a good thing. If it's not at the surface, it cannot develop any further. However, this is starting to show low center of circulation. That would be Puerto Rico right there. So we're starting to see some big thunderstorm activity associated with that low. We keep an eye on that. All right, that's all. We just keep an eye on that. There's also another tropical wave, if you will, about 100 to 200 miles to the east of the Windward Islands, which are right there. That's getting kind of beat up by some wind shear right now, so it's not really posing too big of a problem. Something out there with a name, though. It's Tropical Storm Vince, 11 o'clock last night. That believe it or not, was a hurricane, and then 5 a.m. it was downgraded. Here's the deal. As of 11 a.m., the latest coordinates for all you trackers out there, 34.9 north, 14.2 west. It's 740 miles to the east-southeast of the Azores, which you see right there. Maximum winds at 45 miles per hour, moving to the east at 21 miles per hour. So it's got a good click going here, and it's losing some of its oomph as well as it's pushing in the direction of Portugal and Spain. But this is not coming to the U.S. All right, what I see for us today, high temperature 91. We're going to be nice outside, but we will be heating up. Maybe just a stray shower mix in there. I don't think that's going to be the big deal. Boaters, your winds are out of the northeast. I talked about that. They're kind of light, 5, maybe 10 knots, 2 to 4 foot seas, and a light chop in the 6-day forecast. All in all, it looks pretty darn good. And for the latest on South Florida's weather, 24 hours a day, turn to NBC 6 Weather Plus, Comcast Channel 250, Digital 6.2 if you have the old digital TV set going, or you can see it live on NBC6.net. If you got one of them there computers, and we are coming right back.
NBC 6 Weather Plus Doppler Radar is brought to you by the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida.
All right, time to take a look at our interactive question of the day. Should Florida have stricter regulations on the ownership of exotic animals?
And this one, it's a first for us here on the NewsNet at noon. 100% of those responding say yes, they do think we should have stricter regulations. We've had a lot of incidents in the past couple of weeks, and they say involving pythons that have been abandoned that should not have been. So a lot of people think that we should see more regulations.
Might add that each incident, one has been grosser than the other. We've got a couple emails for you. Martha Amador from Miami. Exotic and dangerous animals should have a chip implanted like dogs so you could trace who the owner was and find them. Or another way would be to make people more responsible for what they decide to have as a pet.
Interesting. Big brother for the animals somewhat. Yep. Also, yes, exotic animal ownership should be controlled according to this email. Many people are very irresponsible and let them go here, which is true. We have seen that happening. Well, we're continuing to follow the big stories of the day for you.
Including the earthquake in Pakistan. Entire communities wiped out, and some are saying possibly an entire generation as well. Most of the victims are kids.
And we're going to have the latest on an investigation into some dangerous diet pills. Find out how a job application blew the lid off problems with the pills.
Plus, is stress in New Orleans manifesting into this? Police caught beating a man on tape over the weekend. We'll have the latest on this case, plus the rest of the day's news on the NBC 6 News beginning at 5.
Well, to end today here, take a look at this. A 9-year-old California boy completed a very tough morning swim. Yeah, he wasn't just going around the block. He went from Alcatraz Island all the way to the San Francisco shoreline. His name's Johnny Wilson. He completed that swim 1.4 miles in just under 2 hours. Choppy waters there, but the effort helped raise money for the Hurricane Katrina victims.
He got out, but no one ever went the other way and made it from Alcatraz.
Amazing. Good for him.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Have a great day. We'll see you later.